The Materialists. Oh, okay. I really want to see Materialists.
Talk to me about that one. I don't know much about that one.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, I don't want to see that one.
You don't want to see that one?
No, I don't like the.
I know.
I don't like the live action ones.
I know.
I think they're lame.
I know they are, but
I think they're artistically devoid cash grabs.
I mean, they are. They are, but I love How to Train Your Dragon.
All right. Well, fair enough.
I'm trying to look at other possible like summer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
F1.
Children of Men I've never seen.
I've never seen it. I just watched the trailer. It looks amazing. I'm like, damn, we got to see it. Jurassic World Rebirth.
Oh boy.
With
Is that Scarlett Johansson in that one?
Scarlett Johansson. Are we recording?
Yeah, I'm recording all of this.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a creative edit on this one. Hey, everyone. We're back, and you're listening as we figure out. No, I don't know how this is going to. I'll just do an intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Maine Pod Week. I'm Nate.
And I'm Julia.
And we're going to be talking about summer film here in Maine, because even though the weather won't tell you it, it's summertime, baby.
It's summertime. And we're so ready. Summertime in Maine, as everybody knows, is super short. And so we have to fit in all of the possible summertime activities. And
10 weeks of panicked frenzy.
Beach picnics and Acadia hikes and swimming and movie going.
Sitting in dark theaters as well.
Sitting inside in dark theaters, because sometimes it's super hot out and theaters have air conditioning. So there's so much going on.
There's so much. This is a very busy time. Julia was telling me this.
There's literally so much happening in the month of July. So you might be familiar with MIF, the Maine International Film Festival.
Yep.
And MOF, the Maine Outdoor Film Festival.
Right.
Some people think that MIF is the Maine Indoor Film Festival because MOF is the Maine
Outdoor Festival. I like that.
But no, MIF is the Maine International Film Festival and MOF is the Maine Outdoor Film Festival. But here's the thing. MOF also has indoor screenings. So MOF is about outdoor conservation and adventure films. And they show them outside in Portland.
I didn't realize that.
Really?
I thought the films were out. I thought the films were about being outdoors.
Yeah. Well,
but were screened inside. We're like regular screenings, I guess.
That is a common misconception.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it is both outdoor films, like outdoor themed films, mostly all documentary. So full disclosure, I am the director of programming for MOF.
Woo!
So I just finished up watching a ton of films. This is the reason why I hadn't been watching a ton of films in theaters, because I was watching a lot of submissions for MOF. And so now I can finally talk about the program for MOF, which is super exciting. And the schedule of MOF is going to be, it's kind of like half indoor and half outdoor, I would say. So the outdoor venue is the Eastern Prom.
Fun.
And so imagine a pop-up screen and people in their own camping chairs and a beer garden.
Cool.
And food trucks.
And the water right there.
And the water right there. And you're watching these like amazing outdoor, like beautifully shot outdoor documentaries.
Oh man,
so
cool.
It's like kind of the best way to spend the summer.
I've seen like promotional things for it in the past. Like last year I was working in a cafe when they were getting ready to do this, and so we like got a bunch of their promotional flyers, but I didn't make it to any of them. And again, I think I largely thought it was just movies about outside but inside.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's, you know, it's kind of like you can choose your own adventure. Like if you want that that kind of like Maine summer aesthetic, you know, go to the Eastern Prom. But if you're like, no, I want to like really focus on this one film in a place where I can like, you know, really just like watch the film and not be distracted, go to one of the screenings that's being hosted by Space.
Cool. That's awesome. Thank you, Space.
Thank you, Space. Ugh, I love Space so much. Shout out Space. They are also doing their this is on my mind because I recently filmed a little like promotional video for them this morning. Actually,
cool.
It was like it's for their like membership drive, annual membership drive.
Awesome.
And so that'll be coming out on their social media soon.
Awesome.
Me talking about how much I love Space. So if you have $50 annually to give, and a lot of people do, consider Space.
Are there any films coming up in either MIF or MOF that you're particularly excited about? I don't know how much you're allowed to say.
Yeah, I mean, I can say whatever I want.
Oh, nice. Independent journalism,
Independent journalism. Okay, so one film that is showing in both MIF and MOF is a feature-length documentary called A Moment in the Sun. And this is a documentary about the solar eclipse, the 2024 solar eclipse in Houlton, Maine, right on the border of Canada. And is that how you pronounce that town's name?
Houlton?
Houlton.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
From a true Mainer. Yeah, so it's this documentary about the different people in the town of Houlton, and there's like small business owners, and they feature a woman who is on the eclipse committee, and it's kind of like a slice of life in how these people are preparing for this influx of tourists.
Right.
To their like tiny
town
in the middle of nowhere. Right. And just like how people are thinking about this once in a lifetime celestial event. And it ends on this like really interesting, like profound note. And I don't want to like say any more than that, but it's it's a really well-made film about Maine. I believe it's directed by two Australian filmmakers, and I'm dying to know like what got them like what gave them this idea to shoot this documentary. But anyway, yeah. So A Moment in the Sun, that's playing at both MIF and MOF, and you can look on their websites for those showtimes.
MOF.film and MIF.org to find out more about that film.
MOF.film, say that 5 times fast.
MOF.film, MIF.org.
MOF.film, MIF.org.
I was looking at MIF.org about some of the Maine International Film Festival things.
Yeah, what's jumping out at you?
Well, one that caught my eye, and it's not one that I know much about, to be entirely honest, was this film, The Negotiator. I don't know if you've seen anything about that one. It's about...
that was not on my list.
Yeah, it's about a senator from Maine, George Mitchell, who chaired the peace negotiations for the Good Friday Agreement in Northern Ireland. And I have sort of a weird connection to it in that my dad tutored George Mitchell's kids for a while.
Oh my gosh.
And so I like kind of heard, I didn't really know who George Mitchell was at the time. I was in probably, 8th grade or something like that. And I didn't really get like what a big deal it was or how cool that was. But I know George Mitchell mostly as the guy that had my dad tutor his kids.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So as I was looking at this film, The Negotiator, it's a documentary about George Mitchell, and it's about him in Maine and DC and Northern Ireland. The little blurb on MIF says that it talks about, it says it's timely, contemporary, and deeply personal film, and it poses provocative questions about U.S. engagement with the wider world, and how to find enduring political settlements and the role the U.S. can play in reaching agreements. It's produced by the same guy who produced, or one of the producers maybe, of Kneecap, which I heard fantastic things about, but did not see.
Me neither. That also showed at MIF.
Okay.
And I missed it, unfortunately. I want to watch. I would love to watch that. Yeah.
Well, it's been the center of a lot of controversy right now because they are deep sympathizers for the Palestinian people,
right.
the genocide that's happening there, and they've faced obviously a lot of pushback because of their political beliefs. And I just think that, you know, a film like this being from Maine is really interesting because Maine right now in some ways has found itself in the middle of some political turmoil right now. And I think Maine kind of has a history of doing that, from, you know, Margaret Chase Smith with the Red Scare and the McCarthy hearings to George Mitchell in Northern Ireland with Clinton. And now we have Janet Mills facing down the president. And it would just be interesting to see sort of how this film traces Maine's political standing, whether or not that's something it's interested.
That's super.
At all.
I never thought about it like that, with like George Mitchell as kind of like in this group of politicians that, you know, are like reach a national profile, but
right.
are still from Maine.
Right.
I went to Colby and in Waterville, and
that's okay.
Okay, Bates.
Yeah.
So all I knew is that George Mitchell was just like a name on a bunch of buildings.
Oh, okay.
You know,
okay.
like that's the only context. Like I think the middle school or maybe the elementary school is the George Mitchell school. So like that was literally it. And so I never actually like thought of George Mitchell as like an actual person with like an actual story.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, but it's great that this film has been made about, and it's showing in Waterville.
That's awesome. At the Opera House.
You know, so I would be really interested. I would be really interested to see if this film is going to play anywhere else in Maine.
Currently, it's slated for Wednesday, July 16th. That's my birthday. At 7
No
p.m.
way.
Maybe I'll go see it for my birthday. Who knows?
My gosh. So it's so MIF, it looks like MIF has designated it as their centerpiece film.
What's that mean?
So the centerpiece film in MIF is sort of like it usually only plays once, and it's at the center about midway through the festival. And it's just sort of like something that the festival, it's a film that the festival wants to kind of elevate in some way. So there's usually the opening night film, the closing night film, and the centerpiece film. So those are like kind of the three big programming touch points of the festival. It's usually something that the programmers of MIF want to say, like, hey, like this is important. This is a good film. Like we are going to elevate this. And the fact that they are programming it in the Opera House potentially means that they're expecting large crowds, because the Opera House is 800 seats.
Cool.
So that'll be really interesting. Yeah, maybe we should go for your birthday.
That'd be fun. Yeah, we'll have to look into that.
Little political history for Nate's
birthday.
Woo! Yay!
A little fun time at the movies.
Would that be your 30th?
No, not yet. Not yet. I got one more.
I forget. You're a youngin'.
I'm a spring chicken. I noticed too that MIF is doing a big thing for Clive Owen this year. Does he have any connection to the festival? What's going on with him?
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. I don't know that Clive Owen has a Maine connection. Huh. And so we should probably should have found that out before recording.
Our bad.
Oh, well.
I thought she would know, and so I pitched her a softball segue for that one.
Oops. So every year MIF tries to get some kind of actor or director or producer to attend MIF and get a midlife achievement award. So a couple of his films that Miff is going to show. Croupier is the first role that got him attention over here because he's a British actor.
British guy.
And Closer, that was his first Best Supporting Actor nomination. He was opposite Julia Roberts. They're also showing another film, Duplicity, which is also him opposite Julia Roberts. So I wonder if he could be our gateway to Julia Roberts for MIF next year.
Nice. That'd be cool.
That would be amazing.
Julia, come to MIF.
Julia, please. Yeah, and then Children of Men is probably his most, I mean, that's like kind of the most famous film, I think, of his filmography.
I don't think I've ever seen anything that he's done, but the one seen that I have like heard of is
Children of Men.
Yeah.
Have you seen Inside Man?
No.
Oh my gosh, you have to see Inside Man. I understand why they didn't include it on here, because he is he's a main character, but the film isn't really like about him. It's more like Denzel Washington is like really the central character. But yeah, Spike Lee film, excellent.
Oh, cool.
Excellent bank heist film, so good.
Love a heist
film. And several of these are kind of like thriller heist, maybe not heist, but like kind of action thriller. Like Croupier is like a gambling, like casino kind of action. Gosford Park is like a whodunit.
That's another one that I've heard of, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, I've also never seen it, but I watched the trailer and there's Maggie Smith.
So it's got to be pretty good.
There's like, you know, who's who in British acting.
Yeah.
And it was the inspiration behind Downton Abbey.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's funny. I watched the trailer and I was like, wow, Maggie Smith is basically just like playing her role in Downton Abbey. And then I read the Wikipedia article and it was like,
oh, no way.
Downton Abbey was a spin-off of Gosford Park.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
originally planned as a spin-off of Gosford Park. Huh. Interesting.
Like,
that's really cool. That's funny.
Yeah. So one of my favorite films that I ended up watching for the submissions for MOF, is a film called Canoe Digit. And this is a film set in Maine. It's a mockumentary. So think like, you know, The Office, Parks and Rec style. Mockumentary set at a freestyle canoe competition. So do you know what I'm talking about? Freestyle canoe? Okay.
I don't actually.
Okay.
I'm excited to learn.
So freestyle canoeing is also called canoe dancing. And it's basically you're in a canoe and you do a choreographed routine set to music of like of your canoe doing like kind of like crazy tricks. And like lots of cool different turns and elegant spins and paddle maneuvers, and it's like very pleasing to look at.
Okay, sick.
And so this film is a mockumentary about a competition in Maine on a lake, and it's like, it's so funny. It's like, it's all these like Maine stereotypes of like, they have like subtitles under
fun.
under one character's because of his Maine accent. So that's funny. And it's just like a real delight. And so that's one of the films that's playing at Space Gallery.
Fun.
It'll be playing at 8 p.m. at Space on Thursday, July 24th.
Okay, cool.
So I would highly recommend that one.
That sounds fun.
I would highly recommend A Moment in the Sun.
So to be clear, canoe freestyling is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And then this is a mockumentary based on a real thing that seems like it's made up for the mockumentary, but exists outside of it.
Exactly.
Okay, fun. Okay, cool.
It's a real thing. I've actually tried it.
Yeah?
And it was so fun. I fell over, obviously. I fell out of the boat. Because you're like, you have to like take the paddle and you're like reaching out to get these maneuvers right. And obviously you're just gonna, you know, you're gonna fall in the drink. Another few films that I'm excited about, Marlee Matlin, Not Alone Anymore. This is a documentary. It premiered at Sundance this year. It is about Marlee Matlin, who is a deaf actress. She was in Coda. Do you remember seeing Coda? She was the mom in Coda.
Okay.
So it's a documentary about her and like how she has like paved the way for deaf actors and actresses. Wow. So I'm really excited for that. It's also being released theatrically, actually before MIF, which is kind of interesting. So it'll probably trickle around to places like the Strand in Rockland, the Nick, maybe. It'll probably trickle around to those kinds of places later in the summer.
Cool. There's one here called The Birdman of Skomer.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to me as a bird guy, as a birder myself.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you would love that. It's it's really it's part of a shorts block.
Okay.
And it is like, it's about this guy who's basically like dedicating his life's work to studying these birds. And it's kind of about like, what is the value of your work as a scientist? God. And it's like, it really hit me.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. It sounds like it really might throw me into some existential dread.
Yeah, it might.
I mean, unfortunately, where we are in the world of science and the world of ecology right now, it's hard to study it without being thrown into existential dread. But that one jumped out to me as one that might be worth checking out. It's only 16 minutes long. It's playing on Sunday, July 27th at 8 p.m. at the Eastern Prom, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, there's so many like short films that are part of these shorts blocks that we programmed for MOF. And I feel like oftentimes, you know, people might not go to shorts blocks because it's like, you know, they're not getting marketing about specific films. They're not like, they don't have big stars attached to them, you know, like they're not showing across theaters, you know, across the country. But I will say that we at MOF, myself and the executive director, we really put a lot of thought into structuring these blocks of shorts. And so I think you should see them because we structured them in a way that is very intentional. And we thought a lot about like how each film plays into the next film.
Cool. People are working hard to show us cool movies.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julia.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure.
So the Maine Outdoor Film Festival is going to be July, 23rd to 27th?
Yep, July 23rd to 27th in Portland. And then later in the summer and into the fall, they have their Selects tour. And that shows at places all around the state. It's like, I mean, they pop up everywhere. It's like amazing how far the MOF team is willing to drive. That will not be me. I am not involved with that. But so if you can't make it to Portland this July, or if you just can't make it to any of the screenings, be on the lookout for a screening elsewhere in the state.
That's so exciting.
Unfortunately for MIF, they don't have a Selects tour like that. So you got to be in Waterville. July 11th to the 20th.
July 11th to 20th.
So, so packed July, MIF, then MOF, and then in September, we get a break in August a little bit. That's when we can catch up on our blockbusters. And then in September is the Camden International Film Festival.
Coming right up. Man.
So it's like, I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
It's so funny to think, I don't know, people think about, you know, like the important movie time being 2 weeks on either side of the Oscars, kind of, or getting ready for the Oscars and then dealing with whatever fallout from the Oscars and catching up on things you didn't see. But things are popping off in Maine during the summer.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And it's really cool, especially for a festival like MIF. It's really cool to see a film at MIF and then it comes out in theaters later on, like, during the winter or something. So it's really cool to say, like, oh, I saw it when it was just in its festival run.
Cool. Yeah.
And now I can say, like, yes, absolutely, I recommend this film. It's showing. It's coming back to theaters, and here it is.
Get your bragging rights in. There's a lot of fun stuff going on. This is, big summer blockbuster season.
Yeah.
So we're starting to get some heavy hitters coming out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What's on your blockbuster list?
Well, I can tell you this. What was on my blockbuster list was Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And I saw it, I think, last weekend. And I went to the Saco IMAX, and I got good seats at the Saco IMAX. I know. I booked ahead. We sat in the very last row, which may be the perfect seat for an IMAX showing.
Really? For IMAX?
Yeah. It's just,
interesting.
The whole screen is in your view. You're not having to turn your head to look from side to side. I maybe could have gone 1 or 2 rows up a little closer.
Did you still feel like you were immersed?
Yes, I did. Okay. It was like, it's a colossal screen.
Yeah.
And so, a buddy and I went. They also have Coke products there, which, sorry, but I don't want to drink Pepsi at the movies. So I had a Diet Cherry Coke at the movies and a big old thing of popcorn, and
love it.
It's just what Tom Cruise would want. And
exactly.
And he did my favorite thing, which he does before all of his movies, or at least the last 3 of his movies that I've seen in theaters, where before the movie starts, he comes on screen and he's like, "Hey, it's me, Tom Cruise.
Oh my God.
Thank you for coming to see my movie. I worked really hard on it, and I hope you like it." And I say,
"Okay, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. I love that you love movies." And then I watched his movie, and I thought it was not great. It was fun. It was stupid. The fun thing about most of the other Mission Impossibles is that they've been fun and not stupid. And like the action was good, but there was just a lot of kind of messy stuff that was happening, I think, because they were trying to end the whole franchise. It's supposed to be like the last one.
Right. Yeah. Wasn't the first part, wasn't it? Okay. Hold on. Wait a second.
I know what you're going to say.
You know exactly what I'm going to say. The first installment of this installment was called Part 1.
Yes.
And then this one is not called Part 2. It's
Correct.
Called The Final Reckoning.
Yes. So what Julia's saying is that 2 summers ago, Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1 was released in theaters. And Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1 was set up to be the first part of Mission Impossible 8 Dead Reckoning Part 2. But then I believe it was because of the strikes and everything that happened. It is called The Final Reckoning now.
Oh my gosh.
And the thing is if they kept making the movies, I'd keep seeing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one was a little bit of a whiff. Sorry, Tom. But
well, that's exactly what our colleague Kyle said in his 5-word review. A really big mixed bag.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with that.
So
it was still fun. I have some people who went and saw it and they loved it. And it was a fun time at the movies. I don't know. It was all right.
You got your cherry Coke.
Yeah. There was a old couple next to me who were really making themselves laugh. I don't know about what, but they were having a hell of a time. So that was really fun. That was my big summer blockbuster, I think. There's still ones coming up.
Yeah, I have never really been like a summer blockbuster fan. Like it's just like the blockbuster in general. I feel like doesn't really like get me going in any kind of way. Like I'm much more interested in the art house and the independent stuff. With the exception of like Barbie, like that was a blockbuster that had like real artistic backbone behind it, you know. Wicked, like that, you know, that's kind of like that's nostalgic for me. Like that was something, I guess that was not a summer blockbuster. Yeah, it was a Thanksgiving blockbuster.
Yeah.
But I am really excited about Jurassic World Rebirth.
Are you a big Jurassic World head?
Not really.
Okay.
The only reason.
Okay. I think
you know what?
I think so. You're just talking about Wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm excited to see this movie is Jonathan Bailey.
There we go. I mean, it's a decent reason.
I mean, just look at him.
Yeah, fair enough. He's wearing little glasses in this one, I think.
Little glasses. Yeah. It's going to be great.
And it's directed, I'm just seeing this now, by Gareth Edwards.
Who's that?
He did Rogue One.
Oh.
He did Godzilla 2014, the one with Bryan Cranston in it. He does like generally pretty decent
blockbusters,
big sci-fi-y kind of blockbusters. So this one could be a good one. It looks like they're kind of half rebooting it too, where like I don't think Chris Pratt is gonna be in it. Yeah, I could miss Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I would rather have Jonathan Bailey.
Exactly.
On my screen.
I think this one could be like kind of a cool change. It's written by the guy who co-wrote the original Jurassic Park.
Oh, wow. So this is
David Koepp, I think his name is. Koepp. Koepp.
Huh.
Koepp or Koepp, maybe. Previously co-wrote the original Jurassic Park film, and he wrote this one. All right.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Very cool.
Tonight we're going to go see The Phoenician Scheme with a bunch of people from the Maine Play Week and a bunch of people who are not from the Maine Play Week, which is really exciting.
Yeah. How do you feel about Wes Anderson?
I'm not the biggest Wes Anderson guy. I feel like I should be. I'm not always.
I feel like you're the target demographic for Wes
White
Anderson.
Guy with a mustache. And I find that his aesthetic can sometimes take me out of the movie. You know, where it's so carefully constructed that I have a hard time focusing on the fact that the characters are meant to be real people, or maybe the characters don't necessarily feel like real people. And sometimes I find myself, I'm like, yep, these shots all look very pretty, but they aren't leaving any impact on me.
Yeah, I feel kind of the same way. I'm kind of allergic to this kind of like film bro culture.
Yeah. Yep.
And I feel like I took a lot of classes in college with some of these kinds of men who are like think they know everything about film, and it's like, oh, what's your favorite director? Mine's Wes Anderson. And it's like, okay.
Wow, you really dug deep for that one.
Yeah,
huh,
exactly.
Man?
You and every other white guy with a mustache. And so I'm like really that really is a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm like, okay, yeah, he's a prolific director with a specific style.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great.
He does what he does, and he does it well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, stop the presses.
Right.
I don't know. That being said, I don't know. I always enjoy watching his films.
I'm excited. I don't know that I've ever seen. No, I saw Fantastic Mr. Fox when I was too young to get it, really, in theaters. And this will be the only other Wes Anderson that I've seen in theaters. So it's exciting.
Huh.
But there's a lot of there's a lot of movies coming down the pipe at us. MIF, again at MIF.org, is going to be July 11th to July 20th. MOF at
MOF.film.
That one we're looking at July 23rd to 27th in screens throughout Portland. And then a little bit later on, we've got the Camden International Film Festival, right?
Yeah, Camden is September. You know what? Let's not even. It's in September. We don't need to think about it just yet, but just have it on your radar. It's in September. Get excited, but also focus on July, people.
Focus on July. We got blockbusters. We got films, festivals. We got everything you could possibly want.
We have a lot to do. Okay, so stop listening to this podcast.
Buckle down.
Buckle
Get to the
down.
theaters.
Go buy some tickets.
We'll see you there.
See you there.